My name is Habib. I work as a truck driver in Dubai, hauling construction material from the city to sites deep in the desert. What I'm about to tell you is real. The memory of the night still grips me like a cold hand around my throat. It started on an ordinary afternoon. Around 4 pm, my company asked me to deliver some material to a site outside the city. I loaded the truck and hit the road. The city faded behind me, and soon it was just endless desert stretching out on both sides. Then it happened. My truck suddenly died. The engine coughed and fell silent. Cursing under my breath, I stepped out and checked everything: wires, engine, fuel. Nothing seemed wrong. I jiggled some wires and tried again. Nothing. So I called the company. They sent me a mechanic. By the time he arrived and fixed the issue, the sun had already dipped below the horizon. He looked at me seriously and said, "You should turn back. The site is far and you don't want to be out there after dark." I laughed it off. "It's fine, I'll manage." The biggest mistake of my life. By the time I reached the site, it was pitch black. Workers had gone home. The place was silent, eerily silent, except for the whispers of the desert wind. I parked the truck and thought, I'll just sleep here and deliver in the morning. There was nothing but darkness all around, no lights, no sign of life, just empty sand stretching to the horizon. I left the truck lights on for comfort and lay down in the back. Minutes turned into an hour and then dogs. The sound of barking ripped through the silence. Low at first, then louder, closer. I froze. There shouldn't be dogs here, not in the middle of the desert. I slowly peeked through the window. Nothing. Just shadows dancing in the weak glow of my headlights. But the barking continued. Sharp, angry, hungry. I stepped out. The night air felt thick, heavy, almost wet. My eyes scanned the darkness, and then I saw eyes. Dozens of glowing eyes staring at me from the shadows. They began to move closer. Slowly, their shapes became clear under the moonlight. Dogs, but not like any dogs I'd seen before. They were huge, their bodies twisted, their faces wrong, like something had stretched their jaws too far. Their teeth glistened, their galls rumbled like thunder in my bones. Panic surged through me. There was an empty worker stand nearby. I ran for it, heart slamming in my chest. The dogs followed, their claws scratching the sand like nails on glass. I dove inside the tent, curled into a corner, whispering prayers. Anything I could remember. The barking grew louder. The tent shook as they circled around, snarling, scratching, but they didn't come in. For some reason, they wouldn't cross the threshold. Minutes felt like hours, then silence. I waited. My lungs burned from holding my breath. Slowly, I peeked out. Nothing. The desert looked empty again. Relieved, I ran for my truck, slammed the doors, locked everything, tried the ignition. Dead. My hands trembled as I kept turning the key. Then I saw something. A man, walking slowly from the darkness, his white robe glowing in the moonlight. His steps were deliberate, almost too perfect. I didn't think. I ran toward him, desperate. "Please help me, my truck." He nodded silently. I looked. His voice was calm, too calm. He turned, walking ahead. I followed. Then I noticed his feet. They were not feet. They were hooves, like a horse. My legs locked. My mind screamed, "Run!" He stopped, Slowly, he turned to face me, his lips curled into a smile, a horrible, broken smile that split his face too wide. And then he laughed, a glow guttural laugh that made the air vibrate. His body began to stretch, bones cracking, skin tearing as his frame grew taller, towering above me. His eyes burned red. I stumbled backward, heart hammering, and run. Run until my lungs felt like they would explode. Straight back to the tent. I stayed there all night, listening. I stayed there all night, listening. Sometimes I heard laughter, sometimes whispers, sometimes the sound of footsteps circling the tent, but they never come inside. At some point, exhaustion took me. When I opened my eyes, sunlight poured through the fabric. Workers were back. The site manager found me and offered breakfast. As I ate, my gaze drifted to one corner of the tent, where verses from the Quran were pinned to the fabric. That's why they never come in. I delivered the material and drove back. But for days I burned with fever. At night, I couldn't sleep because every time I closed my eyes, I heard that laugh. And I know one thing for sure. Whatever. My name is Karan. I'm from Maharashtra, India, and I work as a truck driver. Today, I want to share an incident that happened to me during the winter month of November. One night, we had to deliver a furniture load. It was around 8 pm when we loaded up the truck and started our journey. After about 4 to 5 hours of driving, our truck started having some issues. I decided to stop. We were on a rough, broken dirt road surrounded by forest. I asked my co-driver, Kumar, to check if one of the tires had gone flat. He turned on the flashlight, looked around, and said that the rear tire was punctured. I told him we should change it quickly. The road was so deserted that it felt risky, like someone could rob us. We both got out and started changing the tire. I was working on the tire while Kumar held the flashlight. Suddenly, the bushes nearby started shaking. Kumar said, "It feels like someone is walking there." I tried to brush it off and said, "It's probably just an animal." But deep down, I had a very strong feeling that someone was hiding and watching us. Then all of a sudden, every sound stopped. Complete silence. A heavy, eerie silence filled the air. What happened next was something we never could have imagined. From the other side of the truck, we heard a loud bang. I told Kumar to go check it out, but he said, "You came with me." I'm scared, so we both went to see what it was. But there was nothing there. And then, out of nowhere, Kumar started screaming and shouted, "Get in the truck, now!" We both ran and jumped aside. People who know about truck will understand there is a small sleeping area at the back of the cabin. We both hid there and turned off all the lights. And that's when we felt it. Something was coming toward our truck. We were absolutely terrified. Something started hitting our truck with great force. Whatever the creature was, it began peeking inside from the driver's side window. Its height had to be at least 9 to 10 feet, because no normal human could look in from that angle. Its voice was so horrifying, we could barely breathe from fear. We stayed completely silent, frozen in place inside the truck. This went on for at least 30 to 45 minutes. It kept circling the truck, hitting it from different sides. Sometimes it would peek through the windows, and all the while it was making inhuman, chilling sounds. Slowly, those noises began to fade, and then complete silence again. But we were still too scared to step outside and fix the tire. Kumar said, "We can't just sit here and wait. Whatever this thing is, it clearly doesn't want us here. We have to change the tire and leave." We started praying with all our hearts. Finally, we stepped out. It still felt like many eyes were watching us from the darkness. Angry, piercing stares. We heard strange growling sounds, but couldn't tell where they were coming from. We quickly changed the tire and began reloading the furniture onto the truck. Suddenly, it felt like 10 to 12 figures came rushing out from the jungle, straight toward us. We jumped inside the truck, but when I tried to start it, the engine wouldn't start. We panicked, prayed even harder. All around us, we could hear those creatures hitting the truck. Sometimes from the back, sometimes from the door. The truck was shaking. I kept turning the key, begging, "Oh God, please save us." And then finally, the engine roared to life. I slammed my foot on the accelerator and we drove out of there as fast as we could. For a few minutes, those things chased us, but eventually we lost them. We reached our destination, delivered the furniture, and came back home. But for an entire week, both Kumar and I were burning with fever. Even today, when I think back, I still. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so I can keep bringing you new spine chilling tales every weekend. Leave a sweet comment below, and if you have a personal experience or a horror story you would like to share, check out the description. You will find an email. You can send us your story on that email. See you in the next story. Take care and stay safe.